Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig, and it's been a couple weeks.
Welcome back. It's been 3 weeks, I think we missed.
Yeah, I think we missed 3 weeks because a bunch of stuff that kept coming up, but we're back, and hey, you know how we've been doing movies about things that people have a general phobia of?
Aliens.
Let's not do that. No.
Xenophobia.
That's not what xenophobia is.
I know.
Wow. Wow. Welcome to Politics from a Retard. Anyway. No. Anyway. Well, I mean, we can use this as
A fear of aliens.
I mean, it does work. That wasn't the intention, but yes, this is part of our 4-episode
Yes.
arc, and we already have watched the one for next week, so
So that actually makes it so much easier.
Yes.
So we don't have to go with that gross one that we watched.
that's the one I said that we already watched. Are you talking about?
No, we're...
Anyway, I don't want to
Okay,
say it ahead
right,
of time.
okay.
Let them be surprised next week.
Right.
But anyway, so if anyone out there loves superhero origin stories, you know, Superman and Batman and all those, this is beat for beat,
One of those.
except they put the whole thing on its head. If you've seen Get Out, which is basically Guess Who's Coming to Dinner done as a horror movie, or if you've ever seen, what was the one we just watched the sequel to, Happy Death Day, which was Groundhog Day with murder and death and horror. This is basically that for the origin of Superman.
Yeah, this takes two of my favorite genres and says, what if we made the best thing out of the two of them?
Yeah, it's a mashup that's awesome. So let's give a little idea of what the movie is about. An alien, you might recognize this. An alien spaceship lands in a field in Kansas,
And
a
of
couple
farmer people find the spaceship,
There's a baby in it, and they adopt it and raise it as their own,
and they keep secret from it that it's different from them.
And it keeps being drawn to the spaceship and has extra strength and all these powers and can fly. And I mean, like I said, it's a recognizable story. But for those who haven't seen the trailer, earlier this year we did here's the movies that are coming out this year that we're looking forward to episode. And this one we played the trailer on. But for those who didn't see that episode, let's roll that trailer again.
Yeah.
Whatever you've done, I know there is good inside you.
Who am I? You are a gift. I know it's been difficult for you lately that you feel different from other kids. You are different. After your dad and I got married, we prayed for a baby for so long. One night, someone listened. Brandon? we believe that you came here for a reason. He was in the barn.
Did he find it?
No. It was like he was drawn to it.
He may look like us. He's not like us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully, if you like horror movies, and if you don't, why are you watching this?
Right.
That kind of got you excited for the movie, because we definitely were, and saw it the first weekend it was available for us to go see. Paid way too much money to see it at a huge theater, like huge screen, recliners, the whole nine. But good movie.
Oh, this movie was great.
But anyway, before we get into the behind-the-scenes stuff, it's been a while. I'm missing these big fat stacks of cash being,
Tossed our
truck
way.
loaded, backed up on a truck on a flatbed to our home to pay us for all these real commercials. So let's get some of that big
Fat dough.
yeah. Yeah. Gory Story Time is brought to you by Murder Friends, the new comic book series for fans of horror and superheroes. We take your favorite superhero origin stories and turn them into bloody, violent horror tales. What if a young boy was bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes a spider-human hybrid that traps people in its web and consumes them? This and many more stories are available now. That's Murder Friends from GST Productions.
Nice. And by Gunner Brothers Alien...
Gun Brothers.
Oh, not Gunner. Okay. And by Gun Brothers Alien Insurance. No matter what the government tells you we know there are aliens. And at Gun Brothers, we help keep you safe. From crop circle damage in your fields to missing farm animals, from accidents caused by lights from their ship to good old-fashioned abduction and anal probing. We have you covered. That's Gun Brothers Alien Insurance. Let the others cover your home and car, and we'll take care of what comes from the stars.
All right. Now, there wasn't a lot of information about this other than it's Superman. What do you not get?
Right.
It's basically, all the bad guys or the government guys at the end of Man of Steel and in Batman v Superman that are like, what if he turned on us? This is...
He turned on you.
This is what if they were correct. That's basically this movie. The middle school scenes were shot in now defunct Patrick Henry High School in Stockbridge, Georgia. This is the same location used for both Hawkins Middle School and Hawkins High School in seasons 1 and 2 of Stranger Things.
If you couldn't tell, and we didn't mention it enough, this is a horror take on the Superman origin / mythos.
Steve Agee, Michael Rooker, Stephen Blakeheart, and Terrence Rosemore appeared as Ravagers. Yeah, I was thinking...
The Revengers is the Ragnarok thing.
Yeah, sorry. Ravagers in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So it's almost like James Gunn went, hey, you know how I did that with you? Want to do this with me?
Right. And Rooker's done there anyways. Superman traditionally stands for truth, justice, and the American way. The essay Caitlin is writing when she's visited by Brandon in the decadence of... Is the decadence of truth and justice in the modern world, identifying Brandon as a twisted, dark version of Superman, born from the death of the values that the original one embodied.
Elizabeth Banks and Michael Rooker had previously appeared together in Slither, but neither of them shared a scene together in this film.
Elizabeth Banks
Wait,
and
hold on. He didn't even share a scene with anybody else, did he? Because he was just...
no, he just
Anyway.
said, "Hey, look at this stuff."
Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks and David Denman
There we go.
both played roles in Power Rangers, the 2017 live-action remake. They've all been live-action, but it was terrible.
Sorry, I didn't like Power Rangers. I was like, oh, you mean live-action Voltron with, like, Godzilla black and white special effects? Guys in rubber suits going... "Arr!" Like, that's literally what it
The movie
was.
had really good effects. It was
Yeah, I'm
just not
saying the
good.
show.
Oh.
And the first couple of movies that they had done years ago were just that on a bigger screen and should have never existed. Michael Rooker plays a YouTube conspiracy theorist in a short sequence during the end credits. He compares the footage of Brightburn to other mysterious figures that he believes the government is trying to cover up. The figures resemble a twisted version of DC Comics' Justice League. Rooker's character mentions a sea creature overturning a boat, like a half-man, half-sea creature. That was an allusion to Aquaman, a witch strangling people with ropes, and which would be analogous to Wonder Woman. Also, there's a graphic behind his character of an alien being that's a reference to Martian Manhunter, and an image of the Crimson Bolt, which was Rainn Wilson's character from James Gunn's earlier film Super, which was similar to Batman.
Right.
But I don't think that one was a horror movie as much.
No, it was a comedy drama. And from what I've seen, he was trying to be the good guy in that movie.
Yeah, but still.
There were 2 scenes that they cut in the UK version to get a 15 rating. I can only assume
Age.
the 2...
Oh, the 2 that we're going to bring up is...
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. Young Brandon Breyer, Jackson A. Dunn, is shown in video flashbacks growing up with his adoptive parents. He looks to be about 5 or 6 when he's helping his father complete a construction project on the farm. Right after that, the title card reads, 10 years later. And then it shows him at 12. 10 years after the last shot would have made him 15 or 16. So that was a kind of a mistake.
Except the way I took it...
Is that he grows faster because he's an alien? Oh.
No, the way I took it was 10 years after they found him.
Except...
Right, not counting that footage. Like, the footage was like filler, is what I'm saying.
Right, but you don't show here's him at 5, then smash cut to 10 years later and have him be 12 because people are going to get confused by that. Even if you're right that that's what they intended, the thing right before it says 10 years later, he was like 5 or 6.
Right, okay,
So
I get that.
In
but
that
that's
way,
not even,
it's a screw.
I didn't even think of that.
But anyway.
Okay, when Brandon sleepwalks to the window the night he tries to break into the barn basement, his bedsheet drags behind him. In the next shot, when he gets ready to jump out the window, the bedsheet is gone.
Yeah, which is, it's common to have, especially lower budget, but even on big budget movies and shows. I mean, what was it? Game of Thrones
Game of Thrones just had a Starbucks coffee.
It turned out it wasn't Starbucks, but
or whatever.
But still,
a
not
coffee
the point.
cup.
Yeah, styrofoam coffee cup is bad enough.
Right.
Because a couple people on the set were at the time came out like since and said, "You really think that there's Starbucks where we film? Like, they don't fly it in from anywhere else, so it wasn't Starbucks."
Oh, whatever.
But still, there shouldn't have been a foam coffee cup anyway.
Right.
But
and then your percent?
The people have it rated at about 68%, which is enough to be fresh.
Yeah. And the critics have it at 57%, which is not enough to be fresh.
Right. But here's the thing. Critics, unless there's some sort of SJW theme to it, don't tend to like a lot. Like, you know, they love Captain Marvel, they love Black Panther, but they're not big on a lot of the superhero movies because it doesn't fit their...
But they love a lot of the MCU movies.
Again, the ones they really love are the ones that it's like, we can make this politicized. And they're not really big on horror in general with a lot of the critics. So, but like I said, it wouldn't be fair since there's certain things I don't like.
Right.
It wouldn't be fair for me, like for food. It would be wrong for me to be a food critic, eat food that I'm not, like I don't care for Indian food. There's a couple things I like, but I'm just, even though I like spicy, you'd think I'd be down, but I'm not a curry guy, that kind of thing. It wouldn't be fair if I was a food critic for me to rate and review curry-based Indian food because it's not my preference.
Now, this is the perfect movie for people like us to review.
Because we like superhero nerdy crap and we like horror.
Right. The only way that they could have made it any better is if it was a comedy.
I just thought of my new least favorite scene, and it's not the thing we were talking about, and I can't wait.
Okay.
But let's get into what was your favorite scene in this movie?
My favorite scene was the dad takes... Oh, wait, no. Never mind. The uncle takes off after finding out that Brandon's got these powers or something. Well, he sees like red flash in his eyes, and the kid freaks out and shoves him into a wall. So then the kid runs away, and the smart uncle, after having way too many to drink, gets back in his car to drive after the kid, gets stopped by the kid. The kid then picks up the car.
Okay, you're going to give away the whole thing? I understand that we warned about spoilers. How about this? Why don't you just say the part?
So, after this horrific...
Spoiler and graphic.
Yeah. After a horrific kill scene, he's sitting there upside down in his car and his jaw
is hanging
dislocates.
Off. It's ripped off.
Well, yeah, it's ripped off, hanging on by flesh, barely.
On one side only.
On one side. And then
he's alive.
The kid
so not a kill
walks
scene.
up and touches his bloody skin, and it looks like he's gonna lick his finger, and I just loved it.
Well, he didn't lick his finger, but I expected it. My favorite scene is also gory and graphic. You saw
a glimpse
part
of it
in the trailer, like leading up to it, and there's other trailers that actually show it. When he goes after the woman in the restaurant that he ends up getting he goes after in that freezer or whatever that shows him burn through with his heat vision. He had shattered some glass around her and it stabbed her in the eye, and they spend a lot of time showing that there's glass sticking out of her eyeball and her going in and trying to pull it out.
And it moving around because it's stuck in her eye and her eye's twitching.
From the pain, yeah. It was very realistic and amazing.
And the score, I noticed this, the score in that scene got much quieter so you could hear it slid out of her eye.
Yeah. And then it showed from her perspective, and it was all blurry on half.
Yeah, all red and blurry on this side.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so great.
All right, what was your least favorite?
My least favorite thing was that trailer. Because...
Well, the combination of trailers even.
Yeah, all of the trailers, beat for beat, they tell you what this movie is to expect. Everything you're to expect from this movie, you get from the trailers.
I think a better trailer, personally, would have been all the Superman origin stuff, and then one or two things at the end to go, oh, he's evil.
Right.
They do have things that take place in the post-credits stuff.
Right.
Or not post-credits, but during credits. They shouldn't do that.
Almost. It was right before the credits.
There were words going down the screen and it was on the side, so that was during credits. There was a couple things that happened. Yeah.
Okay, whatever. But
the stuff setting up the sequel was during credits.
Okay.
But they showed, I won't say which things because I don't want to spoil it, but they showed some of that in the trailer. So I get that. My least favorite thing is if I'm going to watch a horror movie and it's rated R and they're going to show me boobies, can they please not have it be the carcass of a woman torn apart where it's one's over here and one's over here and she's open in the middle, because it really distracts from the glory that is a nipple when there's guts and ribs and exposedness of the insides in between nipple and nipple that are pinned to the wall.
I think it was some weird ritual for his
I don't care. I don't care. One of the things that when I was a child and watching R-rated horror movies when I was technically not supposed to be, that I liked, was boobies. Don't ruin it by making them like they made sure that you look at those boobies and it's going to traumatize you. That is unacceptable.
Yeah.
That is my least favorite thing. Now that I really think about it, is like ruining the point of putting boobies in a horror movie.
So really what you're saying is you had to really, really scrape the bottom of a real deep barrel.
No, there was a couple other things, like the eyeball thing that I said was my favorite was also my least favorite because it was so damn realistic.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, my teeth kind of hurt watching her pull that out. Like,
Well,
you know what I mean?
We just watched something yesterday with the same thing. Whenever I see something like that, I feel it. I know I don't actually feel it, but I feel it. Yesterday we watched something, this guy put an ice pick in his own eye, and I felt like
it was forced into his eye.
but it was by his own hand.
But let's not
that's not
confuse
the
people.
point.
That wasn't this movie.
Yeah, that wasn't this movie, but like the glass in her eye, I felt a sharp, sudden pain in my temple, and I'm like, ah.
But I decided I'd go with don't ruin my enjoyment of the breast.
Well, I mean, it was ruined before that because it was her.
Yes. But the point is, I think it could have been any breast and it would have still been disturbing the treatment they received.
Well.
Anyway, what would you rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm going to have to give it an 8 out of 10.
And the reason that it's not higher, not lower?
I'm going to say not higher because basically everything in this movie I expected, right? So I went into it and I was like, okay, I know I'm going to see.
But you can't blame the filmmakers for the trailer. It's usually
it's
not
different
them
people that do
yeah.
the trailer. But they're the people who get control of how much you're allowed to put in their trailer. Because they could tell them, here's the footage you're allowed to use.
Most companies don't do that. The
But they
MCU is
can.
they usually really don't. That's not common practice. The MCU does it, but that's because they only want you to know things when they decide that they want you to know.
And even half of the trailers for them are fake anyways.
Yeah, it's like someone will be there or won't be there that you find out is the opposite.
Isn't actually right.
Anyway, I would rate this. I'm gonna go with a 9, not because it's the most amazing movie, but you were saying you expected everything. It was everything I would want from what the trailer said it was gonna be. They said it's gonna be the Superman origin story, but he's freaking evil. And it fulfilled all of that and left it where if they don't make a sequel to this, I'm going to sign up any petition that goes around to get them off their ass and do a sequel.
Oh, yeah.
They
made too much off of this movie not to do a sequel.
But sometimes...
Respectively.
But sometimes when people write these things, they only want it to be... But
well,
it was so open-ended.
Sense.
I understand.
Especially if it
there
actually is connected.
But it's probably not going to be if they're going to say that character, which wasn't a bad guy, is connected to this, because why would they do it that way?
Because...
They would make them all evil.
No,
They made everything else evil. Why would they...
No, watch.
No, anyway.
There's a team of bad guys. Who's going to stop them? Crimson Bolt, the regular human guy.
Except they wouldn't do that because the whole point is to have the whole Super Friends Justice League group bad guy versions. So they would have they would have to do a bad guy version of Batman and not count that, in my opinion. To do it right.
Whatever.
To do it right. And then they would have to, maybe they would have like good guy versions of the DC bad guys. Like a good guy Joker, a good guy Brainiac, a good guy Lex Luthor.
A circus clown who loves putting a smile on your face, so he's got to save the day.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, I hope they don't do
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
But, yeah, so any other things to say? Did we say I said 16.
Yes, we did that.
Okay. I think that's it. Let's
do the stuff.
Yeah, so if you look over to the side, you'll see
that side
that you can.
Yep. You can watch this show channel on Fact TV Channel 8, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
I've also seen it on at other times, so, those aren't the only times.
Right.
I've seen back-to-back episodes on a Saturday before.
Yeah.
You never know. It depends on how they're programming things. That You know, sometimes it changes.
But those are our slots. So
Right. Or you can watch it on, on Facebook, which you might be now because they usually live stream this when we're filming. And if so, hey, we have an email, which is
gorystorytime@yahoo.com.
questions, comments, movies you want us to review. Please do that.
Complaints that I called this movie xenophobia.
But no, it can be fear of aliens. That,
Right.
That does work, but you're a dork as far as the xenophobic part.
Right.
And you can follow us both on Twitter.
Right.
Oh, wait, first, you can also like us on Facebook. We have a page. It's
Gory
just look for
Story
Gory Story Time. If you're not watching this on Facebook,
We share links.
yeah, but I'm saying if you're not currently, please follow
Fact.
TV. It's awesome. I do it. They stream a lot of stuff. They post a lot of stuff. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all lowercase, all one word.
I'm at Jason TJs, capital J, capital G, capital J.
We don't talk about the show, but still.
I just remembered something before we cut this, which is about the movie. One of the alternate ending or a cutscene at the very end was the girl that he's like infatuated with in this movie, who he breaks her arm, and it kind of shows that in the trailer. So she wakes up in a hospital bed with like a cybernetic arm, wanting revenge on him for ruining her life. So I think it would be cool if they ran with that as her the villain of the movie in the sequel.
Maybe they would. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to leave that. Well, yeah, but I don't want to give stuff away, but they show years later, so like she would have to wait years later to do that then. But what is that, like a cyborg kind of?
Yeah.
But see, I don't know. Anyway, until next time.
I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.